But of course, there's a particular link with members of the armed forces, members of the Royal Navy, the British Army, Royal Air Force, Royal Marines, because when we join our armed forces in this country, we don't sign a document of allegiance to the government or anything. We actually swear an oath of allegiance to the sovereign. And in my case, and in actually everybody else listening to this, in their cases, to Her Majesty the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth II.
Now, the Queen served as our monarch, of course, our head of state, but also head of the British Armed Forces for 70 years. She played a crucial role in the lives of British military personnel. Let's talk to Lord Richard Dannatt, Lord Dannatt, former Chief of the General Staff. Good evening to you, Lord Dannatt.
Hi, good evening.
Good
On
evening.
this very sad evening.
Well, indeed, yes. So let's do a little bit of reflecting. You met the Queen on a number of occasions. I can see you're actually wearing black in tribute. What are your thoughts at this time?
Well, a huge number of thoughts, but you're absolutely right as far as your introduction is concerned. It's a great tragedy for the nation that our much beloved sovereign monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, has died. But of course, there's a particular link with members of the armed forces, members of the Royal Navy, the British Army, Royal Air Force, Royal Marines, because when we join our armed forces in this country, we don't sign a document of allegiance to the government or anything. We actually swear an oath of allegiance to the sovereign. And in my case, and in actually everybody else listening to this, in their cases, to Her Majesty the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth II. So this is a great loss for the nation, but it's a very personal loss for all of us who have dedicated our lives to serving the sovereign in the best interests of our nation. So, yes, of course, we are privileged to have many happy memories of her, but actually it's a particularly sad loss because of the personal relationship that's now been severed between ourselves and Queen Elizabeth II. And in the moment that she breathed her last breath, that allegiance was transferred immediately to King Charles III. We'll have to say, God save the Queen, but God save the King.
Thank you for that, Lord Dannatt. Earlier, we spoke to Mark Elliott, Chief Advocacy Ambassador at Help for Heroes, and he talked about that special bond as well between the Queen and the members of the military. But you have a personal reflection, I believe. On one occasion, you were in Northern Ireland and you were trying to get back here for your daughter's 18th birthday, and you were stuck.
Well, that's right. I mean, the great privilege of being relatively senior in the armed forces is that one met many members of the royal family and the Queen on a number of occasions. And on this particular occasion, you're absolutely right. 6th of October 2006 was the day of the disbandment parade of the Royal Irish Home Service Battalions, who had worked tirelessly on behalf of the Crown during the troubles during the Northern Ireland campaign. Anyway, they were to be disbanded on that particular date, and the Queen was there. The Queen presided over the parade, and she left to go to the airport to fly home. My wife and I was Chief of the General Staff at the time, we left shortly after to also fly home. Halfway to the airport, I got a message to say, General, very unfortunately, your aircraft has gone US. So we were effectively grounded. A few minutes later, I got a message from the Queen to say, look, if you hurry up, we can give you a flight back on our aircraft. And she then very helpfully sent her motorcycles back to give us an escort to Belfast Airport, City Airport, which we duly did. We arrived and we climbed up the steps into the plane, and there was the Queen, and she said, hello, well, look, to my wife, you sit there and you sit there, and we'll all have tea. Which we duly did. And then when we arrived back ultimately, I can say in London, she said, well, please give our very best wishes, my very best wishes to your birthday to your daughter for her 18th birthday. So she was someone most people were petrified and tongue-tied when they met. But actually, when you met her a number of times and could talk to her as, without being disrespectful, the nation's much loved grandmother, she was another human being with a very human side. So it's a doubly, trebly, quadruply sad today that Her Majesty has died.
I tell you, Lord Dannatt, I love the little detail. If you hurry up, and I think you had to stop off at Balmoral on the way, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we did. I was just trying to short circuit the
Yes, that's right.
conversation.
No,
So,
I love that. So
yeah,
long
no,
as you don't
we got
mind.
on the plane to Belfast, and she said, "Well, actually, we're really flying to Aberdeen because I'm going to Balmoral." To which we said, "Well, that's really no problem." And she said, "Well, the plane is going back to London." To which we said, "Of course, ma'am, that's really no problem, and we'll be back in very good time for our daughter Richenda's 18th birthday party," which we were. So everybody was satisfied on that very happy occasion, much remembered by us on the 6th of October 2006.
Lord Dannatt, former Chief of the General Staff, thank you very much indeed for sharing some memories with us on
No
Times
problem.
Radio.